100 yards to Yamaha's Dwayne Connor, who takes his best finish of the season. But look out, Fred Andrews. Tommy Norton is the new series leader. I'm Logan Sterling for Moto World.
All right, thanks, Logan. We'll take a break and be back with ATVs right after this.
Gatorback Cycle Park, side of the first round of the AMA 125 Outdoor Motocross Series. A beautiful day, 75 degrees, sunny skies, a great crowd on hand. Hello, everyone. I'm John Kernan, along with former IndyCar racer Jan Beekes. And Jan, we've seen many of these riders in Supercross competition on ESPN, but today's something different.
Yes, when you see them in Supercross, you see high flying, you see style. Here it takes a lot of grit, and it takes a lot of endurance. We have two 30-minute motos here, actually what they call 30 minutes plus 2. They'll run the entire 30-minute distance, and they have 2 laps until the finish.
Now, that means possibly 2 different winners. How do you get the overall winner?
Well, there's a point system. It's 25 points for first place, then there's a 3-point gap down to second, and then from second to 5th place, there's 2 points that separates each of those, and then 1 point all the way down to 20th position. Now, there is a potential for a tie, John, and what happens is that the finisher highest in the second moto would be the tiebreaker.
Somewhat unique situation. Well, we have a unique person, I would say, covering the pits for us. Let's go down and talk to Jerry Bernardo.
I talked to a lot of the different riders here, and they said there's a couple of different things about Gatorback that's really weird. For one, it's wicked fast. But we got killer hard pack here. Look at this stuff. This stuff is totally hard. Moving right along 5 feet later, we got total loose dirt. Can you see it? Loose dirt, hard pack. Different conditions, really fast racetrack. But it makes for a lot of fun for me to play in. All right, we're having some laps here in the pits. It's so hot out here, you have to put sunblock on at home. Pete Steinbreck is going to tell us why I can't walk into the floor of a shop and buy this. What makes this bike so radical?
This bike is expensive at first. Many different parts, 3 keys to this machine.
Numero uno.
We got lightweight parts, which would be titanium around the whole thing.
Number 2.
And then we've got the engine. Engine, different pipes, modified cylinder and head.
And to the most expensive part, suspension.
Yes, these babies, nobody would want to buy those things. Mom and Dad would be hurting.
Big bucks, big bucks. That makes this a Super Duper 125 crotch rocket, and we get the right pilot?
Hey, I think we can find him if we take a good look in the truck someplace.
That's him. Doug Henry's the man. 125 champion, #1 plate.
Well, this weekend it doesn't seem to be too hot. You know, previous years it's been hotter, so I think the weather won't be too much of a big factor. But I think, you know, this is the first race of the season, you know, that everybody's got to do 2 30-minute motos, so it's going to play a big part in the stamina.
Okay, can we see the new, freshly cut boys' regular haircut, please?
That's it.
Clean cut. Look at that. The clean cut representative, America's moto future.
Thank you. Well, I feel our bikes are all about the same. Suzuki's running really good today, and the testing we did last Friday, we got all the suspension dialed in. And I'm just going to go out and get a good start and hopefully run up front at the very beginning. Doug's not a really good starter, but Hemming's the one that's going to be starting up front here at the beginning because he thinks he's got something to improve here by losing the championship and everything. So I'm just going to get up front and run with these guys and, you know, see what happens.
I'd rather have the whole track sand. I like sandy tracks, but I can ride the hard packs just as good as I can ride sand, but I'm just going to go out there and do the best I can and get a good start.
Well, thank you very much, Jerry Bernardo. 40 riders are at the starting gate getting set for this 30-minute plus 2-lap first moto. Of course, everyone looking to chase Doug Henry, the defending national champion in the 125 series. We will be back at Gainesville right after this. To go in Jan Beekes, let's take a look at this 17-turn racetrack.
Well, you know, here in Gainesville, you have a lot of elevation changes, but take a look at the start. There's not a tight turn here, so you won't know who has the whole shot until we get to the first series of jumps. It's hard packed, it's fast, and man, they fly here.
Yes, they do, and a lot of different lines for passing. Well, 40 riders at the gate, and there they go. Look like a California gold rush as they head into turn 1. And let's see who comes out with the whole shot on the inside. It looks like Damon Huffman. He's followed closely by Ryan Hughes and Jeff Hemming.
Ryan Hughes got a great start there in second place. He's a factory-supported rider. They do consider him a factory rider, even though he's not on the top Kawasaki team.
Well, you know, Ryan Hughes, a lot of people have said over the winter time that he was being dropped, demoted, but he actually asked to go to the Pro Circuit team, and he thinks he's going to get a lot more personal attention and have a much better season. But right now, oh, look, he goes to the outside. Emig slides underneath, and Damon Huffman pulls away. We're on the first lap. They'll run 30 minutes plus 2 extra laps to determine the winner in the first moto as they fly down the hill into this long sweeping turn here.
Now, of course, getting out of the gate is very important, and Damon Huffman got the start that he wanted. But look at Ryan Hughes already putting the pressure on him.
Well, it's early on in this race. Hughes dips to the inside, and he goes for the lead, and yes, he's going to take it as they go into that hard right-hander. Ryan Hughes, halfway through the first lap, he's taken over the lead, followed by Damon Huffman, and Jeff Emig is in third place.
Now, of course, we talked about Ryan Hughes, and there was a bit of controversy. Is he a factory rider? Is he not? He chose, just like you said, John, to go to this team so he could get a bit more personal attention. Last year, he had injuries. It held him back. He wants to start this year with a vengeance.
And he's doing that right now. They go into the rut. He executes the move perfectly, and he starts to pull away as they head down the hill. Ryan Hughes leading Damon Huffman, and look at Jeff Emig come around on the outside, Jan.
He's coming up the hill. Does he have the pass? They're side by side. Almost looked like Damon Huffman came out of the throttle there a little bit. It was easy for Jeff Emig to get by.
It sure did. He made the pass on the jump, and look at that. Flying over on the double jump, Ryan Hughes the leader.
You know, that double jump on a 125, they have to hit it absolutely wide open. The 250 guys can do it fairly easily. Here comes Jeff Emig now making a run for the lead.
Now Ryan Hughes senses Emig is there. It looks like he heats it up just a little bit. Emig going on the outside, gets up against the banking, and Ryan Hughes scoots away as they head down past the water hole, I guess you could call it if this were a golf course. You know, this race course was built around a rock quarry. They've got the pond there in the middle, a lot of rocks, a lot of different kind of terrain. We're about to complete the first lap. Ryan Hughes flies over. He's followed by Jeff Emig. Then we have Damon Huffman. It looks like Ezra Lusk is third, and Doug Henry, the defending national champion, running in fifth as they go into the first turn. Hughes still holding a pretty good advantage over Jeff Emig.
You know, that turn they just went through is almost like a flat track turn. Now we look, Ryan Hughes is starting to pull out some distance. Now he has in the past been known for going out real fast, faster and faster and faster until he finally crashes. Today, he'll have to be consistent, John.
Now you mentioned some injuries. That the only knock on Ryan Hughes on the outdoor, is he in shape? Can he last a full 30-minute moto plus 2 laps?
Well, there's no better way to tell people you're in shape than go out and win the first moto of the year. Right now, everything is going his way, but Jeff Emig, he is known as a guy that knows how to pace himself. They call him Mr. 125, so Ryan Hughes is going to get that information on his pit board.
Jeff Emig, a very smooth, almost effortless-looking rider. We are in the early stages of Moto number 1 at Gainesville, Florida. Ryan Hughes is the leader. We'll be back after this. Kernan in the booth, Jerry Bernardo down covering the pits, and we're watching a battle for third place. Damon Huffman, who led the first half of lap, is being challenged by teammate Ezra Lusk.
Yeah, we have the 2 Suzuki riders here side by side. I tell you, when you come to a race, if there's one guy you want to beat, that's your teammate. We can see also, now we have the Honda rider coming in there, Doug Henry, the defending champion, also putting some heat on.
Doug Henry would like to open this year with a win. He had 3 wins last year. And speaking of wanting to open with a win, Ryan Hughes has never won a moto. Jeff Emig, though, he won 5 of the 12 events. Last year, he's trying to chase down Ryan Hughes in the early stages, and you see Lusk is still ahead of Doug Henry.
Well, we saw Lusk there. He was really making a move on Damon Huffman, but then dropped back. He's got to try and build that momentum. Oh! What is going on there? Doug Henry doubled that one. Came in. Ezra Lusk was just caught totally by surprise.
Can you imagine, Jan, you're setting up for that right-hand turn, and all of a sudden you see this Red Rider come flying through and get the position on you as we see Ryan Hughes beginning to pull away. Now back to Ezra Lusk and Doug Henry, and it looks like Lusk has gotten back around.
Well, I tell you what, when you get past that easily, oh, they're side by side, John. This isn't over.
Oh, this is a great, great race. Lusk trying to win his first moto, or trying to work himself himself up into a position, has a battle on his hands for 4th place with Doug Henry. They'll fly over the doubles. Now they've got to gear down and brake hard and get on the gas to go around this right-hand turn here.
He took a little look over his shoulder there, John, and said, I know you're there. You put a great move on me, man, but you're not ahead of me now.
Once again, Ryan Hughes is out front. Jeff Emming is second. Damon Huffman third. Ezra Lusk then flies over. Doug Henry, it also looks like Steve Lamson is starting to sneak into the picture back there.
Now look, it looks like Ezra Lusk was taking the outside line there, and then the Honda riders on the inside. The Honda riders are taking a slightly different line in practice. It seems to be working for them.
Well, Ryan Hughes is in command at the moment. Let's check in with Jerry Bernardo, who's with the Pro Circuit team.
Chad, Rhino's out in the lead. You think he'll be able to hold on for the whole race?
Yeah, as long as he keeps his head straight, makes no mistakes, and just rides his own race, he'll have nothing to worry about.
Okay, he's got Emig right behind him. What do you think he's thinking about that?
He's just trying to ride his own race, stay in smooth lines, and not making mistakes.
All right, thanks, Chad.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Jerry Bernardo. Ryan Hughes, the leader right now, and he's starting to pull away a little bit from Jeff Emmig. You got to wonder, Jan, though, if Emmig is trying to pace himself a little bit.
Well, you know, Emmig is dropping back a little bit. I would say that Ryan Hughes is doing exactly what he has done in the past, and that is he keeps picking up the speed throughout the moto. The important part is he's got to stay on the bike.
A little further back in the pack, Doug Henry, the defending national champion, is ahead of his teammate Steve Lamson, and Henry is trying to chase down Ezra Lusk. Remember that daring move that Henry made just a few moments ago, but Lusk has gotten back around and has put a little distance on Doug Henry.
Now, of course, Lusk is going to be looking for that, so he's not going to be caught by surprise. We see that Doug Henry is moving through. As they come off the jump, we can see he's making a move now on Ezra Lusk.
Well, it's to the inside, but look at Lusk on the outside. Look at the distance he puts on Doug Henry in a battle for 4th place. And, Jan, we've seen several riders go to that outside line right there on that turn, and that appears to be the fast way around. As look at Lusk pull away. Henry cuts a little bit of the gap right there, but now Lusk clearly has the advantage.
You know, let's keep in mind that Doug Henry can go to school on Ezra Lusk. He has now seen that line, and I'll bet we'll see Doug Henry try that sooner. The other thing is that he may have an endurance problem. He is having difficulty. He's having stomach cramps. They don't know what the trouble is, but towards the end of these motos, John, sometimes he's been fading.
Well, this can be a very physically and mentally demanding racetrack with all the elevation changes. You got hard pack, you've got some soft parts of the racetrack. And look at Jeff Emmig. He has caught Ryan Hughes. Now, we had speculated that Emmig may be pacing himself and waiting to see if Ryan Hughes might fade. And Emmig looks like he's about ready to make a challenge for the lead. In fact, on the inside, they draw up, but Ryan Hughes has the advantage as they come past the crowd. Great crowd on hand today. A beautiful day in Gainesville, and now Ryan Hughes has moved back out in front of Jeff Emmig. You got to wonder when Emmig is going to try and make his move.
You know, this is a very important day for Ryan Hughes. He has had a tough season. Earlier this year, his father passed away, and he's dedicated the rest of this year to his father. Right now, if he keeps going and he can endure this kind of pressure from a very experienced rider, right now, this is a very special day for Ryan.
Well, as we mentioned, Hughes has not won an outdoor moto this year. However, he did win a Supercross event at San Diego.
Well, they're now coming into the sandier section of the course. You can see two distinct lines. We see Emmig try the inside, but it's bumpier there. Out on the outside of the course, it's very sandy. It's hard-packed on the inside. That's where we'll see the passing made.
Well, Ryan Hughes is midway through the first moto here at Gainesville. He has an advantage on Jeff Emmig, who's running in 2nd place. Damon Huffman is 3rd. We'll be right back.
Any power on the ground unless the rear wheel is on the ground. As they come up and take the halfway, they crisscross in the air. He's probably going to take the inside line on Ryan Hughes.
Jeff Emmig trying to get it inside. Ryan Hughes on the outside. Remember, it's a little bit looser stuff in stock car racing. We call it the marbles. And yes, Jeff Emmig scoots by to take the lead on the inside. Now he'll try and put a little distance as they come in. But look at Ryan Hughes go to the inside. They side by side. They come down the hill. They almost touch. Who's got the advantage? It's Jeff Emmig.
Jeff Emmig waited. He went to school on him, and now he's out front. But Ryan Hughes is saying it's not over, buddy. Oh, he almost over-jumped that, John. Really slammed on the landing.
We know Jeff Emmig last year 2nd in the points, just behind Doug Henry. You called him Mr. 125. He had 5 wins in 12 events last year. A very smooth rider. And, you know, a lot of his races, his wins, carbon copied this. He'd hang around, and then he'd be very smooth and be ready to go at the end.
Let's see if Ryan Hughes takes the outside line like he's been doing earlier. This is how he took the lead of the race, but right now that line doesn't seem to be working on Jeff Emmig.
Well, you know, Ryan Hughes right there, Jan, I believe that he cut off the line too quickly and dipped into the turn. If he'd have stayed outside, he might have had him, but I believe the rear wheel got just a little squirrely when he went through some of the whoops or the hoops, as the youngsters are starting to call it now. A little further back, Damon Huffman is in third place, followed by teammate Ezra Lusk. Damon Huffman having a pretty good run. Although he did start off the race with the lead, he did have the whole shot. He has dropped back now to third, but he's still in a pretty good position. Still a long way to go in this first moto.
Remember, these two teammates are battling this season, and each one is leading his respective 125cc Supercross, one in the east and one in the west.
Well, Damon Huffman running a strong third. Let's go down to the pits and check in with Jerry Bernardo, who's with Tony Berluti.
Tony, we got Damon running a strong third. What do you think he's thinking now, chasing down those guys?
I think he's trying to relax and breathe and try to save his energy for the end of the race. If he stays where he's at and he got some energy at the end, I think he could possibly win.
They're running pretty hard up front, battling between each other, but Damon's known to come back from the back. You think he can pull it off?
I think so. He's usually stronger at the end of the race, so I think he's doing really well. I hope so.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
18-year-old Damon Huffman, a solid third place as he tries to chase down second place Ryan Hughes. Ezra Lusk, his teammate, who's got a lot of experience on this track, is settled into fourth place, and we've got just about 10 minutes plus 2 laps to go on this first moto.
Well, you know, talking about Damon Huffman, he said, the only thing I want this year, besides winning races, is people not to say that I look 16 years old. Believe me, he's going to have a long time before he gets over that. He looks real young.
He does look very, very young. As we look back there at Damon, who's trying to chase down Ryan Hughes, they'll come down the hill. Things have kind of settled in right now. The leader is Jeff Emming. He's beginning to pull away as they come up the hill, get a little bit airborne right there, and this is that tricky part of the racetrack, a double jump, and when you come off of that jump, you go up into it, Jan, you can't see where you're going to land.
Yeah, if there was a guy down or something, this is the kind of track to be very scary to ride if you didn't have turn workers, because you have no idea what's on the other side when you leap through the air.
Well, there you get a shot of the advantage. It looks like Ezra Lusk is trying to put the move on his teammate Damon Huffman as they fly down the hill. Remember, the outside line's been fast here, and look at Ezra Lusk go.
Well, he's practiced a lot here. He's from this part of the world. He's come up through the amateur ranks, and right now he's using what we'll call the Ryan Hughes line. He's gone to school on what's happening. Boy, he just pulled out a huge distance on his teammate there.
Well, he's from Bainbridge, Georgia, and that's in South Georgia. We're in Gainesville. It's just about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from here. He's got a lot of fans here at the racetrack today. You got to wonder if he already knew that that outside line on that turn was the fast way to go.
Well, you know, it's not always. He may have raced here before, and the inside line is faster, because these tracks, they change all the time. What these guys do is they look ahead. They said, hey, if somebody's leading me, he must have a better line than I do. They all start to copy it.
Well, of course, Ezra Lusk confidence has to be really climbing high. He is leading the Eastern Supercross Series. Let's check in with him.
Well, you go into it with a lot of confidence. You know, you're used to running up front, and if I get a start and get up front, then I'm not going to be nervous or get all chanced up. So hopefully that'll just carry on into this outdoor, and hopefully I can do good here too with my Suzuki.
Well, there are the thoughts of Ezra Lusk as he's trying to chase down Ryan Hughes, the early leader for the first half of Moto #1. He's in second place now. Jeff Emming has sort of said, see ya to the field. And did you see that move right there that Hughes did? What was he doing, Jan?
Well, what he's doing is he's cleaning his visor, or he may have been actually taking off a tearaway. It's a very thin layer of plastic, and when he gets mud on there, he can clear his visor. Look at Ezra Lusk up the inside.
Lusk goes to the inside. He kind of made that move fairly easily, Jan, but look on the outside as Hughes comes back out down the hill. They're very close to each other.
Side by side, I think what's happening here is Ryan Hughes did not realize how close Ezra was, and now he says, man, I got to stay on the gas because I've got some serious pressure.
Some serious pressure from Ezra Lusk, and trying to set up for that turn, the hard right-hander there. Then they slow down, and Hughes still has the advantage. Lusk is third. Damon Huffman, who led the first half of lap #1, is running in fourth place. And look at the pressure now that Lusk is beginning to exert on Ryan Hughes, the early leader. Let's see what happens on this turn here.
Ezra Lusk goes to the outside. Whoa, the back wheel's all over the place. John, he's taking the outside line. That's the one that Ryan Hughes took the lead of this race with, but he left it wide open here for Ezra.
Well, you talk about riders going to school, and you know, Ezra sort of had him set up to force him to the inside as they came off of that jump down the hill. Ezra Lusk is now taking over second place. Now, we mentioned the injury problem that Ryan Hughes has had. He missed 4 outdoor motos last year. We'll see if he's starting to wear out. Jeff Emming is your leader. We'll be right back. Gainesville, Florida. Jan Beekes, Jerry Bernardo, and John Kernan. We're nearing the finish. In Moto number 1, Ryan Hughes is being challenged now by Damon Huffman for 3rd place.
Damon Huffman starting to put the pressure on him. He goes a little high here. He's trying to set him up for an inside move. We have to think about the endurance here of Huffman trying to come back from injuries from last year.
Well, Ryan Hughes gets the 2 laps to go, Mark. And Damon Huffman now goes to the inside, Jan. That's a good call right there. But can Hughes come back on the outside?
Well, we've seen this move work for other riders, and is it going to work for Damon Huffman? They're side by side, touching handlebars. Man, Damon Huffman comes through with an aggressive move.
Hey, who says there's not rubbing in motocross racing? Damon Huffman takes over the 3rd spot. You got to wonder if Ryan Hughes is starting to feel the effects of the injuries that plagued him last year, and he's just starting to give out physically.
Well, you know, these guys train so hard, and really with Damon Huffman, he's one of the guys that actually trains less than the others. He just says, what I do, all I do is ride. All these other guys, they lift weights, they ride mountain bikes, they do all this crazy running and sweats and heat training. He says, I just ride the bike.
Well, sometimes that's the best kind of training. I mean, he's another smooth rider. We talked about Jeff Emig being a very smooth rider. Let's see if Ryan Hughes can go to the outside here and regain the position. The outside definitely faster. He starts to move up on Damon. Oh, look at that, Jan. I think he almost got off the track.
He got out in the slippery stuff there, John. Couldn't hold it. It looks like he's a little weary to be riding that outside lane. If you want to go for the outside lane, it really takes some endurance because the bike flies all over the place.
And he may have another concern, not just catching Damon Huffman, but you see the red motorcycle, the red Honda of Steve Lamson trying to move up to battle for that position. Damon Huffman is leading now Ryan Hughes. This is a battle for 3rd place. 4th is Hughes. 5th is Steve Lamson. And I think Doug Henry might have faded back to the second 5.
You can see right now as we go and take another look at Ryan Hughes, we'll have to see if he's going to have any more pressure from behind. Yes, there he is. There's Steve Lamson starting to put more pressure on Ryan Hughes.
Lamson, a very consistent rider. He probably bided his time, stayed there in the top 5, top 6, and now he's ready to make his move as we look at Huffman make that nice jump in front of the fans. Fans love that in motocross. When those bikes get up in the air, and these guys do just a little bit of showboating, but Huffman now solidly in 3rd place.
We're talking about Doug Henry, and now we're seeing Steve Lamson, and it does appear as though his teammate has dropped back, and it is the lesser experienced Steve Lamson now that's coming up and putting, let's see if he does what his teammate did, see if he has this special, oh, it's a picture perfect copy of what his teammate did. These Honda riders are obviously taking those secrets and sharing them with each other.
Steve Lamson moves down to 4th place. Hughes is faded back to 5th. We should be on the final lap. There you see the white flag on the right of your screen. Jeff Emig is the leader. He has a very comfortable lead, but Steve Lamson now appears to be the man on the move. He has taken over 4th place. Now he sets his sights on Damon Huffman, but does he have enough time to catch him and move up to another position?
Well, he's really going to have to be on the gas if he wants to move up one more position, but Steve Lamson, he rode just about every class that you can ride last year, John. Now he's concentrating on 250 Supercross, and here 125 on the outdoors. Only his 2nd year with the Honda team.
Well, Jeff Emig has the lead as we are in the final lap of Moto number 1 of the AMA 125 Outdoor National Series. Emig, though, here in Gainesville has had some problems. You got to wonder if he's hearing some little voices telling him he may not finish. Oh, look at that picture-perfect jump there. Last year at Gainesville, Emig finished 2nd in the first moto, but had major problems in the 2nd. He finished 35th at Gainesville, but he's been in control since the midway point of this moto, Jan.
Well, it sounds like the nerves are going to come in for the 2nd moto, because he did okay here last year starting off, but it will be the next moto that he'll have to try and capitalize on, because these guys, they're thinking about championships. And when you go out and you start a year with a win, that's what starts to build that momentum.
Well, you know, in '92 when he won the championship, he got off to a slow start. He didn't win the first moto and still came away by winning the championship. He flies over. There's the checkered flag, and yeah, a little thumbs up. I'm the winner.
Yeah, just another Sunday ride, you know, no big deal. I got another race to go. No showboating yet, but if he wins the next moto, believe me, he'll be doing some styling.
Well, the 2 Suzuki riders coming 2nd, and now back to the defending national champion, Doug Henry, still out on the course. He'll come across in the 6th position, I believe, as he takes the checkered flag. Jeff Emig is your winner. Lust, followed by Huffman, Steve Lamson, and Ryan Hughes to round out the top 5. And yes, Doug Henry finishes 6th. Now let's go down to Jerry Bernardo, who's caught up with the winner, Jeff Emig.
Jeff Emig showing us what he's made of at the first national here. And now showing us what he's made of by taking his shirt off. Jeff.
Yeah, it was all right. I don't know. I don't think I rode that good. I made so many mistakes, and, you know, I think we need to change our suspension a little. It was a little bit soft. You know, the track much rougher and much drier than what I thought it'd be. You know, it was tough, but, you know, but I just kind of mellowed. You know, I tried to maintain.
Okay, what were your thoughts following Rhino for the first part of the race?
Let him go. Who cares?
You knew later on you'd be able to pull on him and come on strong?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of the 125 Supercross guys, with maybe the exception of Lusk. You know, they go real good at the beginning, you know, and then they might fade out a little bit at the end. You know, I made a lot of mistakes, you know, and I think that I cost myself a lot of time.
Was training a factor near the end of the race, or were you just feeling strong the whole way through?
I was feeling strong. You know, I was looking at the board and stuff. So, I mean, you know, I felt fine.
You seem pretty casual. You do a good job at that stuff.
Yeah, 125 Nationals would be my forte. And, you know, I was just out there having fun, basically.
That's what we like to hear. Fun's what it's all about. Thanks.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry. Yes, fun is what it's all about. Speaking of fun, Ezra Lusk, a great time today with a second-place finish. Jerry has caught up with him.
All right, Yogi, we're just talking to everybody else. They're saying it's hot. How hot was it out there for you, and how'd you feel?
Well, it's pretty hot, but I've been racing here a lot of years, and I'm pretty used to it. You know, I think I can go out that second moto and put on a good show like I did then. I'm just going to go out there and ride smart like I did then and set a pace, and hopefully everything will turn around for me.
Okay, you were around 5th or something, and you came right back and whipped up front. You knew you could make the move?
Yeah, I think I got passed by one guy. I made a bad choice back there on that first lap, and but after that, you know, I just calmed down, rode smart, and I figured a couple of those guys would get tired, but I knew Jeff wouldn't, but I wasn't really worried about him. I knew if I could get a second or third, this very first moto like this, then, you know, then on I could start riding stronger and try to ride a little bit more aggressive.
Well, Ezra Lusk with his second-place finish. Doug Henry, defending national champion, talking things over with Dave Arnold, his team manager, wondering what went wrong after his 6th-place finish. We'll be back with the start of Moto 2 after this. Welcome back to Gainesville, Florida. Moto number 1 of the 1994 season now in the books. And you know, Jan, usually you see a guy get a whole shot, build up a little bit of a lead. That didn't happen today.
Well, we saw with Ryan Hughes, we saw him leading at mid-distance and then start to tighten up. You would think that with all these high-flying jumps and with this rough terrain, you'd have to muscle the motorcycle, but that's not the case. You actually need to relax and let the thing just flow. That's what happened to Ryan Hughes. He tightened up, fell to the back. Endurance is the key here for the second moto.
Well, you said relaxed. We'll see who's relaxed for Moto number 2. Well, he's relaxed, looking at his watch, holding up the 30-second signboard. There it goes down. The riders are ready. 40 riders waiting for the start of Moto number 2. And there they go. Let's see who gets the whole shot. Coming into the first turn, we'll pick him up. It looks like green Kawasaki on the inside. And yes, that is Robbie Raynard leading it.
We can also see a very strong start there by the privateer Chad Pedersen on the DGY Yamaha.
Well, as they go in that turn all bunched up, it looks like a little bit of a trouble, a log jam right there as the field tries to make its way through. One rider is down, number 97, Chad Lowe. He's out of Tazewell, Virginia.
Robbie Raynard with the lead. We see Chad Pedersen. We're looking through. There's Jeff Emig, Steve Lamson. Then way back, oh, we can see that Doug Henry didn't get a good start.
Well, Robbie Raynard got a very good start in his second year racing as a pro. Well, we talked to him earlier about his experience last year and how he's going to apply it to this year.
Last year I was building myself up for the outdoors. I wanted to go out there and just win. But it was a little bit harder. I slowly built myself up. I broke my wrist, and then I had to train coming back from that, and it was really tough. And by the end of the year, I was really strong. I could ride both motors 100% and not get tired. And that's just, you got to build yourself up and just go out there every moto and do the best you can.
16 years old, the world by the tail. Well, as we look, battle for second place shaping up, Jeff Emig is followed by Steve Lamson. And look at Ryan Hughes on the inside, but that has not been the way to go around that turn.
Ryan Hughes was the one who actually took the lead of the first moto around the outside, but now he's choosing to take the inside line. Steve Lamson now trying to work on Jeff Emig, and Ryan Hughes working on Lamson.
Jeff Emig, of course, winning the first moto. And Jan, you're in the second moto, and we talked about the point system at the beginning. When do you start just concentrating on not trying to win, but trying to get a good, solid top 5 finish?
Well, they do that to try and get the overall victory. In the case of, wow, what a fight that Ryan Hughes got off there. They're side by side up the hill.
Well, let's see. Hughes has onto the momentum momentarily, but it looks like Steve Lamson is going to get him as they have to gear down and head down into the rut, and Lamson will scoot away. But go ahead and finish your thought about the points and when you start actually running to try for a top 5 finish.
Well, you see, you get points for each one of these motos, so they will try and finish just as high as they can. But the pit guys will be giving them boards and telling them, in the case of Jeff Emig, where he has to finish to get the overall victory. Woo, Steve Lamson barely made that double.
Well, you saw him. He forced the front end down to land. I think that was more to gain some control. You used to be, you didn't want to land on that front wheel as you look at Jeff Emig, who's down second place, and Steve Lamson trying to chase him down. But you want a little control. David Bailey, during the early 80s, almost developed that move. His father ran a motocross school, and David had to illustrate how to do the certain jumps, as we see there. Again, he comes down on the front wheel, and David had to show the riders at Gary Bailey's school how to do it wrong. Well, as he did more and more landing on the front wheel, he found you could actually control the bike. They come across the line, and look at them fly through. Steve Lamson on the outside. It looks like he may try and make a move. We'll see if he tries to scoot down on the inside. Yes, that's exactly what he does. He'll take over second place over Jeff Emig. A great textbook pass.
What that was, that's called a late apex pass. He turned late, he ducked to the inside. That was a fantastic move. These two guys are both 23 years old, but Jeff Emig has much more experience than Steve Lamson. Steve Lamson, the same age, but new on the circuit.
Well, he's Mr. Consistency. We talked about how a smooth rider that Emig was. Lamson is another one of these guys out of that same mold, and there that jump is. You can't see where you're going whenever you hit that jump, but they executed almost perfectly every time. Steve Lamson running in second place. We should mention Robbie Raynard, who finished 9th in the first moto, has more or less run away to the lead on this win.
Now, well, we should also talk about these guys' personalities. They're much different. You can see here that Steve Lamson, he's more of a humble kind of a guy, very quiet. And then, of course, Jeff Emig, very outspoken. But on the racetrack, they are both very aggressive.
Well, Steve Lamson has second place right now. Emig is third, but the leader in moto number 2 is Robbie Raynard. We'll be right back. We are back at the Gatorback Cycle Park, Gainesville, Florida. Moto number 2, a battle for third place shaping up. Jeff Emig, who won the first moto this afternoon, is followed closely by Ryan Hughes.
Ryan Hughes is really putting the pressure on here now. Is it Ryan Hughes that's speeding up, or is it Jeff Emig that's falling back? He knows right now he can still drop a position and come with the overall victory between the two motos.
So that gets into the point we were talking about earlier. There you see Hughes sweeps around on the inside. Emig probably isn't really worried because he only has to worry about Ezra Lusk and Damon Huffman, who are a little further back in the pack. So you really do start thinking about points right here, Jan.
Well, I don't know. He seemed like he let Ryan Hughes come by awfully easily. Remember, every one of these points do count. They want to go home with the overall victory, but everything does count here. Ryan Hughes just got a great drive coming off that bottom corner and just powered by him up the hill. But you can see Jeff's not giving up.
No, he's not. There you see Doug Henry, and it's a little further back, a battle for the 5th position as Henry is leading Damon Huffman, and you see the two Suzuki teammates of Ezra Lusk. Now, Doug Henry has had his problems in the first moto, although he did finish with a strong 6th place. But you got to look at Huffman and Lusk. They may be biding their time, waiting for the second half of moto number 2. Remember, it's 30 minutes plus 2 laps. They may be waiting to make their move toward the front. And you saw them look over and check each other out as Damon Huffman looked over at Ezra Lusk. Are there any team signals going on here?
Oh, there wasn't any team signals right there as Ezra Lusk comes through and moves through up another position. These two guys finished 2nd and 3rd in the first moto, and then they've been battling every time they're out there. As we said earlier, each one of these guys is leading their respective championships in Supercross.
Now, what might happen with Damon Huffman there? He looks over on that jump as Ezra almost loses it again. That's the 2nd or 3rd time I've seen him do that, but Damon looks over. He sees his teammate right beside him. Do you lose concentration momentarily?
Well, I think if you're looking over and you're telling a guy that you see him, a lot of times you're opening the door. You're saying, I see you, and then he knows he's aware that you might make a move. A lot of times it's much better never to look back, so you're thinking the guy has no idea you're there.
Well, Robbie Raynard, the 16-year-old sensation, is leading. In fact, folks, he is running away with the race today. Had a 9th place finish in the first moto, and he is on his way trying to win this second one.
But here we see on the outside, looks like Lusk is trying to get some drive off the outside and put a move on Henry.
And he goes to the outside. They'll come up the hill. Lusk closes the gap, tries to go down to the inside, and yes, he's going to make a very daring pass as they head down into the rut. Lusk takes over that position, and you got to be wondering about Doug Henry. 6th in the first. He looks like he's starting to fade right now. Let's check in with Jerry Bernardo.
He looked strong throughout the first moto, but now, not so. What's up with that?
Yeah, the problem is Doug's still trying to figure out a training program after an injury, and you just can't jump right back into it. You have to work at it in the scale. And so Doug's working, but just needs to figure things out, and he'll be fine.
Well, first race early in the season, but good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jerry Bernardo. Doug Henry now being challenged by Damon Huffman for the 6th position. Huffman trying to get on the outside there, but Henry, as they head down toward the pond, and look at the jump there that Huffman puts on to the outside, and he will take over that position.
You know, he used the same move there that Doug Henry had done earlier in the first moto. It does definitely look like Doug Henry is fading. It's not just physical training. He does have stomach cramping problems. The doctors don't have the test results yet.
Well, there's Ezra Lusk riding along in 5th place as he tries to hunt down Jeff Emig, who is in 4th. But the man to beat for Moto number 2 is Robbie Raynard, and we'll be right back. Picture-perfect day, and Steve Lamson, a little picture-perfect jump on the flat double.
You know, he's known as an outdoor specialist, and last year he rode all kinds of bikes. This year he gets to concentrate on 125 outdoors.
And he really loves it. He won his first race at Hangtown in 1992. Let's check in with Jerry Bernardo. He's with his mechanic.
All right, Mike. Lammy took a 4th in the first race. Now he's in 2nd. Looks like he's moving up. How's he doing?
Hey, he's picking up the pace a little bit. He just needs to get going a little bit faster. If he can pass Renard, he's got the overall. If somebody can get by Jeff, he's got the overall. But he's strong these last 10 minutes.
You think he's going to come on a little more near the end?
Yeah, he'll definitely come on in the end.
That'll make you happy.
Definitely.
All right, thanks, Mike.
All right, thank you, Jerry Bernardo, for that report. We're nearing the finish of Moto number 2 as you see Ryan Hughes is riding along in 3rd place, followed by Jeff Emig. We'll have to see if Emig can chase him down, but Emig right now might be pacing himself. He was the winner in Moto number 1. He's looking to capture the overall title today, but Hughes right now in 3rd place.
We can see what's happening as Jeff Emig is trying to put some last-minute pressure on Ryan Hughes. He had dropped back, but right now he has got those pit signals. We did hear from Steve Lamson's mechanic that if anybody got by Jeff Emig, this overall victory would be Lamson. So right now, Emig has to turn up the gas.
Well, in 5th place right behind Emig is Ezra Lusk, who's trying to chase him down. Lusk, of course, finished 2nd in the first moto. He, too, has to be thinking that he can improve his position and possibly get the overall win. But right now, Ryan Hughes maintaining the 3rd place advantage on Jeff Emig.
Let's take a look to see if he's taking that outside line, because that's where he really has been picking up a lot. Coming off this jump when it falls away, and Jeff Emig, we can't tell or look like they're both taking the inside line now.
Being very conservative, we're in the closing stages of Moto number 2. Up for grabs, the overall win. Jeff Emig is trying to close the gap on Ryan Hughes, who is running in 3rd place. Remember, Hughes had a great first half of Moto number 1, and then we saw him start to fade. Now back to 5th place, Ezra Lusk, followed by teammate Damon Huffman. They're running 5th and 6th right now. Doug Henry has faded back into the 7th position. But Ezra Lusk, with a fine 2nd place run in the first moto, he's trying to also improve his position, Jan.
These two guys are so evenly matched. Each moto that we've seen, they're neck and neck. And these two guys, as I've said before, there's nobody you want to get beat by. If it's anybody, it's not your teammate.
Well, you got to wonder if they get tired of seeing each other. I mean, every time we see them, we see those yellow Suzukis right close together, running nose to tail almost.
Well, I don't know if they travel together, but I know when I used to travel with my teammate, depending on whoever would win, you'd never talk to each other on the airline flight on the way home.
Well, there's Robbie Raynard just taking the white flag. It is 1 lap to go, and I tell you what, he has such a big lead, he might be able to push this thing around the racetrack and win the moto. What an amazing comeback performance for Raynard. He was nowhere to be seen. He had that bad start on the start of the first moto, wound up working his way to a 9th place finish, but man, he took the whole shot on the second moto here, and he has checked out on the field.
Well, you know, look at his riding style. I know it's the last lap, so he's not working too hard, but he doesn't use much energy. He's one of these kids, well, right now he's just cruising, you know, taking it easy, but he is a guy, even at full speed, does not use much energy.
Hey, you know, when I used to ride as an amateur many, many moons ago, when I was riding at my top speed, that's the way I look. Oh, look at Ryan Hughes.
Man, he fit it big time.
And look, Jeff Emming was able to get around, but Ryan remarkably hops right back up. He's going to try and get that bike refired and try not to lose any more positions.
Well, we're looking to see if anybody's going to go by him. So far, it's only Jeff Emming that's got by him. And at the moment, he only has lost one position. Looking at replay, he caught the rut. Oh, man, that was a serious face plant. Now look, Jeff Emming was on the outside line and was able to steer clear of that.
Well, right now, Ezra Lusk is hot on Ryan Hughes' tail. It's amazing. He lost only one spot. He's only back to fourth until right now when Lusk makes the pass. Oh, wait, look at that. Look at Ryan Hughes trying to come back, but you got to wonder if that didn't shake up his confidence a little bit. It's having something like that happen on the last lap.
Well, you got to wonder where all his levers are. He may have the clutch lever and the brake lever, all kinds of places where he can't reach them. But right now, he's lost 2 positions. Man, last lap.
That is very tough. Speaking of tough, a tough performance by this young man right now, still 16 years old. Robbie Raynard stands up, goes across the finish line, takes the checkered flag, a little wave to the fans. Robbie Raynard comes back to win Moto number 2. And another good performance for Steve Lamson, the Honda rider. He'll come home in second place. And Jeff Emming, after Ryan Hughes' crash on the last lap, Emming will come across the line in third position. We'll be right back to talk to the winners and the results right after. Exciting AMA Motocross Racing is they're milling around now, deciding whether or not they want to leave or stick around for the 250. Robbie Raynard, the winner of the second moto, coming back with a great effort. He's followed by Steve Lamson, Jeff Emming, Ezra Lusk, and Damon Huffman. Ryan Hughes heads up to second 5. Let's go down to Jerry Bernardo and check in with your winner.
All right, Robbie Raynard, that was a killer hole shot. You had a sky-high lead going off. How did you feel out front?
I feel really great. I didn't get tired the whole moto. I got a couple new blisters, but it don't really matter. I feel so good to be out front, and it just gives me confidence for next week and the rest of the Supercrosses and the outdoors. And I know I can do it. I'm going to go out and do the best I can the rest of them.
Okay, here's a good fact. Did you see the smile on your dad's face while you were leading?
Yeah, he drew me a real big smile on the pit board, and like 6 laps to go, and he was just writing all kinds of different stuff. Half the thing couldn't even read. But I'm sure he's really happy with me.
Okay, you've always liked Gatorback. How'd you like it out there today, the track? Did it get pretty napped up or what?
Yeah, it was a really good track. It got real good and rough, and I got out front and I rode real smooth, and I didn't make a whole lot of mistakes. And that's the whole idea, get a good start and just ride your own race.
Did you see the smiley face on the board?
Yeah, I saw it.
That's what it's all about, fun. Good job.
Thanks a lot.
Well, the guy's really smiling. Jeff Emming, he comes away the overall winner. He will be the points leader as we head into round 2 at Hangtown, but a good finish for Steve Lamson, and Jerry Bernardo has caught up with him.
Okay, we can tell by the smile on your face you're pretty happy with the 4-2 finish, putting you at second overall. How'd the race go for you?
It went pretty good. Robbie got off to a good start, and I had to get by a couple guys like Jeff, and kind of opened up a pretty good lead, and just rode smooth and consistent. I tried to catch Robbie, but he was he was pretty much gone, and we stayed pretty much even the whole race, but he had a pretty good gap in between me and him. So, I just did what I could, and rode consistent and didn't do nothing stupid.
Okay, did you feel strong? Was the heat a factor or anything?
No, not. I mean, I came after first moto. I felt strong. I came in at the end, and and second moto I felt just as strong. So I mean, my confidence and endurance is up. So I don't even have my jersey off. So
you had that little 125 wound right up, huh?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I rode it. I rode everything it had out of it. So I was really happy with it. I mean, it worked really good. And like I say before, my mechanic Mike, I mean, doing a good job.
Now there's a look at the point standings after round 1. Now we all remember the spill that Ryan Hughes took. Jerry has caught up with him.
I got a good start. I got going to a good pace, and I started riding, pulled away, felt pretty good, and my arms pumped up like halfway, and I couldn't really do anything about it. Then my clutch shaft broke, so I was kind of out of it right then. But so I just tried surviving that race, came into this race, tried coming on pretty strong at the end, but then I fell in the back, and I just lost all my momentum and all the lines I had, so I just couldn't do anything about it.
Well, there is a motocrosser, John, wiping the blood and the mud off his face, and then he kept his composure. But here's a guy who really kept his composure. Jeff Emig spraying the champagne. That's what everybody wants to do in Victory Circle.
Yeah, and you know, Jeff Emig, one of the few guys old enough to actually be able to drink the champagne in Victory Lane. Well, it was a great round one here at Gatorback Cycle Park in Gainesville, Florida. We'll see you next week from Sacramento at Hangtown for round number 2. For Jerry Bernardo and Jan Beekes, I'm John Kernan. So long, everyone.